you are listening to Dr. Troy Munson with Words of Radiance. Now here is your host, Dr. Munson.
Hello and welcome, I'm Dr. Troy Munson. And if this particular title caught you a bit, off guard or, I'm piqued, the short answer is of course yes, but likely not in the way you're thinking. So from a superficial standpoint, it is a physical protection that most people think of when it's my job to protect my spouse, where you have men that will go into battle to lay down their life for their children, their family, and that's how we're wired. Is it a woman's job to protect her husband? Well, of course, but is it physically so? Do you jump to, whatever defensiveness when anybody tries to affront them? You can, but I'll tell you that there's a way better way of protection than that. Now, if you've ever had somebody who tends to get themselves into trouble all the time, and you're constantly having to bail them out or run to their aid or protect them or defend them or whatever it is, then there are times, like even watching movies, you'll see these shows where finally this person that they've been protecting and enabling over and over and over, they finally get so tired and fed up with it that they just stop. And of course, the person falls flat on their face and they learn a bunch, and then they realize what a heel they've been, and then they start changing. And you kind of wonder, why did they protect them all this time? When what really needed to happen was not to do that, so that they could figure out that they were doing it to themselves. So, if we're going to protect a spouse, what is the best way to do that? The best way is to show them that their own thinking is what is getting them into trouble. And that trouble is there as a byproduct of our negative thinking that we are having in our brains all the time. Most of us have lost control of this wonderful tool, and now it is running our lives. And we can call it the egoic mind, we could call it the flesh, you can call it whatever you wish. But the ultimate thing is that the brain itself is constantly running from a state of fear. It is assessing threats. It is assessing danger constantly. It is a constant state of fear. When you see it for what it really is, then you begin to let go. Now, the question is, are you really in danger? Now, if all you believe is you're this little body that is so frail that a boulder could crush it, then my gosh, you are going to be afraid no matter what I say. But if you have any spiritual wherewithal and have some inkling that you're way more than this little fleshly body with a brain and nervous system and a heart and lungs and blood vessels and liver and whatever, now you begin to see things a little bit more clearly. Am I really here to save this body? How many people before us have saved theirs? Or does everybody end up in the grave where worms devour? And so as we begin to realize that this body is technically just dust and water, and yet everything that I'm experiencing is coming from somewhere, as you begin to realize as well that your brain is the one that is creating this negative field if you're having only negative thoughts and fearful thoughts and angry thoughts and apathetic thoughts and guilty thoughts and shameful thoughts and prideful thoughts and desirous thoughts that you lack, thoughts that you don't have enough, thoughts that you're unworthy, thoughts that you're not enough, then I'm going to tell you, you're in a mess, because technically that's not you. Now that may be the body, that may be your external existence, but as soon as you begin to see that it is the culmination of your thinking that is producing what you're seeing in your life, you're going to want to undo those negative thoughts as quickly as humanly possible. And to let each thought go is a gift. You can go into the past and you can let go of all of your hurts and pains if you wish, and you can dissect those things out with a therapist if you want, or all by yourself. You can start from where you are right now and recognize the subtleties of everything you do and everything you say and how you say it and your actions and your facial movements and where you put yourself. That you've obviously got some beliefs running you and some decisions you've made in your past that are now giving you the experiences that you are continuously having now. So if you do not like your life, so to speak, or if you have somebody close to you that theirs is a mess, you can give them this and say, here is your wake-up call. Please go do the work inside, just as I am doing the work inside. Now, if you're wanting to change your present family, you're going to have to go in first and do all of this work first. It's not for the faint of heart, by the way. This is work. I'm just going to tell you. But you can do it quite quickly. It depends on how many thoughts you are willing to take captive, so to speak, the moment of their genesis. It is up to you to question everything that you say, everything that you think, everything that comes out of the hole under your nose, every action that happens to you. And when you begin to demand love around you and joy around you, that which is your inheritance, that is you, the moment you begin to let go of your thoughts, and now you have peace in your brain and your mind, and all of a sudden you can take a deep breath and you begin to relish in that peace of mind. And you feel the love that's just under the surface of where that joy comes from. And the unending happiness and laughter and amazing joy that is just bubbling up from within you. And you'll have realized, I've been duped by my brain this whole time. I had no idea that the brain just constantly runs to fear, and yet I am love. I am peace. I am unharmable. But if I believe I'm a body, and I believe I'm these organs and skin and muscle and bones, then now I'm in a state of fear constantly. But if I realize that the I am that is within this whatever meat suit that we wear, that all of a sudden I am way more than just this body. And when I let this body go, to dust and water it shall return. It isn't alive now, and it certainly isn't considered alive when it turns to dust and water again. So what is this life that is now flowing through me? What keeps this dust and water organized in the fashion of this body that I'm experiencing things through? That becomes a much better question to answer unless you already have a spiritual walk. Then it becomes one of a dawning of realization that, oh my gosh, I am life. I am love. I am peace. I am one with the source. How could I have ever been separated from the source of everything, from the Creator himself? I must be one forever. And of course, that's a biblical idea that God is one. The moment that you read God is one, it should have been obvious to us, but it isn't. What do you mean one? Well, yeah, there's only one God. No, I mean he is one. There's nothing separate from him. Everything that is real, that is actually existing is forever part of him. There is nothing that is not part of him. We are all one. That's how one you are. And when Jesus walked and said, if you have seen me, you've seen the Father, because he knew the truth of the statement. And once you realize the truth of what I've just said, you can say the same thing he said. But you may not mean it yet. He knew it through and through. Get to the point where you know it through and through. And then you realize, if I have seen myself, I have seen the Father. If I've seen my brothers and sisters on this planet, I have seen my Father. And therefore, then everything changes. All of a sudden, hatred instantly leaves you. Forgiveness is a natural consequence. And then you realize that it was me the whole time I needed to forgive. I needed to forgive myself for believing I was something other than what I was created to be. And then everything changes once again. And now you have this genuine love for everyone, no matter what they've done, no matter what they've said, no matter how they act. no matter what they've done to you or said about you or thought about you. You'll realize you just love them because you know that anything that is not true is not true. And so you don't have to believe it anymore. You don't have to harbor ill will. You can just be in love all the time. And then you realize the best protection I can give my friends and family and spouse is simply being free myself and showing them how to open that door themselves, that they really are right. They're not wrong. Though they all believe they are, they're all living in a constant state of fear. And at any moment, they're going to be discovered that they're a fraud, and yet they're not. Their brain is, because their brain is a fraud. The lie is fear is real. There is nothing to fear. We are all perfectly okay, forever and ever, one with the source, eternal, filled with light, filled with love, and perfect. So, do you need to protect your spouse and your children and your friends and your family? Yes, but you've got to go through it first. And you can do this. If you're looking for a little guidance, a little help, I'm happy to be there for you. Shoot me a line. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson.